for Liberty and Economics Review and libertyandeconomics.com, Nick Sorrentino. Amazing thing is going on in Egypt right now. There's a revolution in play. I'm thankful that I actually studied revolution at Mary Washington College with Dr. Kramer, one of the leading experts in revolution. And one of the things, as we looked at the many revolutions of the 20th century, that spurred revolution was the introduction of technology. Typically, what happens is you have a group of people who are relatively pacified and they're used to the establishment as it is. The workings of society, the institutions, and that's what they've known their whole life. That's what their parents knew, and they just go along. And then suddenly, new technology is introduced, and people start to make connections they didn't make before. And that is exactly what's going on in Tunisia, in Egypt, in Sudan, in Libya, in Yemen, in Jordan right now. You have a group of young people, by and large young people, who are connected via the internet, via social media, sharing ideas, organizing themselves. And frankly, this is a huge challenge to the establishment. And it's not just a challenge to the establishment in the Middle East. It is a challenge to the establishment at large. The power of crowdsourcing is amazing. Okay? I mean, if you want a good opinion of something, throw it out to the crowd. Oftentimes, you'll get high quality information. Sometimes you don't, and you need to know the difference, and that's the power of the individual. But regardless, the world is in huge flux. There's lots of talk about how times change and information changes things and blah blah blah. You're seeing it in Egypt. You're seeing it in Tunisia. Tunisia, basically, the revolution in Tunisia, which has happened, has kind of fallen by the wayside here over the past week, started with a kid lighting himself on fire in the middle of December, and it just kind of swept from there. The Tunisians were angry at their dictator and his Marie Antoinette like wife, who would spend millions upon millions of dollars when they were struggling, when unemployment was high, and so on. And in Egypt, you have people now that they're used to getting online, they're used to communicating with one another, and they've just said enough. One of the things that strikes me is that the people who have the best economic ideas and the most interesting ideas, and at least in my opinion, and the most obvious solutions for the nastiness that we're embroiled in, and we continue to be embroiled in. I don't care what the stock market is doing. Okay, there's lots of horribleness out there. Are outside of the establishment. They are not the economists that CNN go, look up in their Rolodex to get quotes from. They're not Krugman, they're not Stiglitz. There are other people. And that's where the good ideas are coming from, outside of the club. And you basically, in Egypt, you have people saying, you know what, we've had enough of the club. We see that the club is complete BS, and we're taking to the streets. Now, seeing that, there are all sorts of perils associated with this. Now over the past couple of days, the Muslim Brotherhood has been brought up as potentially taking control of Egypt, and that's very possible. The Muslim Brotherhood is the root of Al Qaeda, and it's very powerful opposition to. It's been an underground opposition to Mubarak. But they're Islamists, and they're not friends of the United States, to be sure. But regardless, the people who've been out on the streets, this is by and large, at least at this point, it's February 2nd, this is a secular uprising. It's more than an uprising, it's a revolution, I think. Though we'll see. Mubarak is still in control at this moment. So Anyway, for those who believe in freedom and liberty and technology, um, I'll tell you, um, Egypt may be leading the way for those of us in the West. May not be obvious yet, but it may very well be true. Anyway, for Liberty and Economics Review and libertyandeconomics.com, Nick Sorrentino.